Movember is the leading charity dedicated to changing the face of men's health around the world. This Movember, whatever mustache you grow, will save a bro. Donating to Movember will help raise funds and awareness for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health and suicide prevention. There are lots of volleyball bros growing their mo that you can donate to, or if you don't know anyone, yours truly and Passing Time's own Josh Nicol is raising funds for Movember. Head over to mobro, mobro.co/Josh Nicol, JOSHNICHOL, to donate.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Passing Dimes. We're here on site at beautiful York University and we ran into two studs here, so we'll get a quality interview for you guys. So I'll introduce our first guest, Andrew Shotbolt. He's in his fifth year here with the York Lions. Fans will remember him with the Markham Stingers, where he won 2 silvers and a bronze at Club Nationals. He also won an OFSAA championship with Bill Crothers, and he's been a first-team OUA All-Star. Also joining us is Toure Nwakwesi. Oh, I'm going to have to try harder on that one. He's also in his 5th year, grew up playing with Pakmen. We'll name drop some other studs because we've had Koss and some other friends of the show already here. He's from Mayfield High School, where friends of the show will recognize the Towe brothers and some other studs. He's been a second-team OUA All-Star, and I can't wait to get in and cover everything these guys have been up to. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Longer intro when there's 2 guys on here this time. So let's get into it. Big opening weekend for you guys. You beat Queens, who's traditionally very strong, obviously defending OUA champs. I'm guessing the year's going well. How's it started? How we looking this year?
I think we got a really good squad again this year. Every single year that I've been here, we've had really strong talents from all the years. Like, I think we have one of the deeper teams in the league, and I think just this year we need to focus on making sure that we are peaking at the right time at the end of the year.
Yeah, last year was all about getting acclimated to our situation, like new coach, new system coming in, getting chemistry back with a bunch of guys in that new system. And this year I feel like we've adjusted and we believe in it and we're confident in it. So definitely seeing the results so far and hoping to, again, peak at that right time going into the end of the season.
Now, what does your program like to do to get guys up to speed? Because you guys have contributed since your first years, but to lose a guy like Logan, who was also contributing, like that's a big spot to kind of replace the setter. What do you guys do to bring in the young people so they can contribute and really focus on what your goals are this year?
I think a big thing is kind of the culture that we have here. We love to have the family aspect and everything like that, and it's a lot of off-court stuff. Whether it's team bonding and stuff like that, and taking time in our days to watch video and stuff, and really encouraging the younger guys, because we have a second-year setter who's actually a year younger like Logan was, so he actually is 18 years old and should be in his first year, but so he's young, but he's doing a great job, and I think really him knowing that he's got the support of everyone around him really allows him to just go out and ball every game, not have to worry about it too much.
Now, have you guys noticed a difference since your first year? What helped bring you guys in to get you up to speed? What did some of the vets do? Because I think the York culture's been strong for a lot of cycles now.
100%.
Actually.
At the end of the day, it's a brotherhood. When we come in, everyone is asking us how we're doing, how's school, how's our mental, how's the social life, how do you feel with volleyball? Is there anything that I can do for you? And just at the end of the day, since I was in first year, and that's continued ever since till this year, it's just allowing new people who are coming in to let them make mistakes and let them learn and be that's okay. If you're learning, we're gonna have your back 100%. And just building up confidence to when you have your number called up on that court and just say hey, it's your turn to ball out. You've put in the work. And here it is. Let's ball.
Now, how has Nate Groenveld affected the program? Because obviously one of the best young volleyball minds in our sport. But you guys have also experienced Wally, who's a legend, Wabi, who's just the greatest high-energy guy. I've never heard a bad thing about him. So how has Nate kind of carried on what those guys previously have built, and what's he kind of added that his own new flavor?
I think he's a bit of a mix of both, where Wabi did a great job when he came in, and that was a big change because Wally was here forever, and he did a great job coming in and breeding the right kind of attitude in the training culture and stuff like that, making sure that we were always high energy, staying positive, not getting down on ourselves. And Wally, I think we only had him for 1 full year, but he was very tactical. We had him and Chumley that were very tactical and feeding us good game plan. I think Nathan does a good job of combining both, where he's not too much focused on us just being tactical, and he's also really making sure he's monitoring the energy that our team plays with, because I think we have one of the more energetic and passionate teams out there. Like, he's had to almost calm down our bench a lot of times, because we used to average, I think, a yellow card a game easily. So I think that's really what he brings, a good mix of both to our team, and I think that's been helping us. And now we're starting to adjust to it better, and it's allowing for our gameplay to kind of show.
Yeah, like you said, he has one of the best like volleyball minds in our sport right now as a young coach, and just like he's brilliant, and I think he does a really good job of simplifying that to us players, and like being able as players to translate his like brilliance into like physical gameplay, right? Like he'll like break down he could break down like a bunch of statistics, but he'll just put in a way for us to do it on the court, like whether it's serving, whether it's attacking, whether it's defense, whether like it's a particular system against a particular team. Like, he does a really good job of communicating that and maintaining that energy for us, that we're cognitively engaged, physically engaged, and I think he's just a really good communicator overall.
Awesome, and I'll give credit where it's due. When you guys entered the league, it felt like McMaster was the team to beat, and they had a great run with Danny Demdenko and Steve Marr and that big cycle there. How has the league changed? Because from an outsider, it feels like this might be one of the most wide-open years that the OUA has seen in a while. I'll give credit to Queens. They are the defending champions, but they haven't had the best start of the season, where it seems like it's a crapshoot right now about who's really going to end up on top of this thing.
Yeah, the past 3 years, every year I've been like, wow, this is the most open the years. But and then next year it's like, no, actually this is the most open. And I definitely think last year having Queens win it really shows that that's the current state, and even more so this year. Because Queens, the defending national champs, like the opening weekend, we were able to get a win off them. And that really just shows you that, like, we are now, I think at that same level where we're going to be able to compete with those guys, McMaster's, like any of the teams out there. And McMaster, obviously, still a phenomenal team. But I feel like the league has been able to catch up, and now, like, at the end of the year, it's kind of who's playing well, who's healthy, and like who's ready to go.
Yeah, like I think volleyball is one of those special sports where a lot of it at this level, especially at the OUA level, is all mental. Like, when you break that mental gap that you can beat like one of the best teams like Queens did McMaster, it just shows everyone else in the league that, like, hey, like, you can win it too. Like, it doesn't have to be like the same one or two teams in the finals every year. And I think we especially have taken that to heart, especially with that first game. Just building up a lot of confidence and a lot of mental fortitude for sure.
Now, you guys have been in some battles where you've been first in your division. You've had Duncan Tebow, you've had the Logan years. Haven't been able to get over the hump of the quarterfinal. Like, what is it different in the OUA when playoffs start? Like, what is the big difference there? Is it just the really focused prep that one team can put on the other, or what's really the difference that's kind of caused you guys to stumble, and maybe this is the year we get over the hump?
I think a big thing back when we had Tebow here was that teams were able to realize that it was one game that they needed to steal off us, and there was one big component of the team that they needed to focus on, right? So, like, taking away some of the shots that Tebow was going for all the time in that year hurt. In my third year, the year that I had first team, I'm pretty sure the Windsor guys were really focusing on the shots that I was hitting, front court and back court, and we were missing Toure that year, and it allowed them to focus mainly more on certain aspects. This year, and a thing that Nate is trying to do is, like, we're trying to have a very evenly spread offense. So the days that one guy's not having a really good day or middles aren't having a good day, we have a lot of other weapons at our disposal, and we have a lot of guys off the bench that can come in, which will give other teams like a tough look, and they'll have nothing to plan for. So I think that for us this year is going to be a big reason why we're hoping to get past the quarters.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, we just have so many different players on our team that can do so many different things. Like, we're super deep. Like, guys are coming off the bench and serving rockets and playing like just amazing defense, like off the bench, like who are even starting, right? Like, I've been a middle in this league, and then playing right side this year, and like today playing libs or defensive libs. Yeah, like it's gonna be a good time this year. Like, so many guys are just putting in the work, and I think that's the difference. Like, we're not depending on just like any one source of offense or defense. We're just like, we have this goal, and we know we're all capable, and we're just all contributing.
Now, I know you guys aren't looking ahead, but just for the listeners, can you explain the new national policy? Because obviously with the AUS and RSEQ kind of joining, what does it mean for Ontario this year? I believe there's a couple bids on the line. So you guys just kind of mind explaining how our playoff format will work and then how that leads into nationals?
Do we have 3 or 4 bids this year?
That's why I'm asking. I think it might be 3 this year.
Yeah, I think it's 3 this year. Yeah. So
Manitoba's hosting.
Yeah,
Manitoba's hosting, so they get the automatic.
Yeah, and then I think it's 3 Can West, and is Ontario 3, and then AUS and
then
RSEQ will fight for the 1.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely out east, it's tougher because they've combined, and now Dalhousie and UMB are competing.
We're basically part of the Quebec League.
Yeah,
as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned,
So
right?
that makes that league a lot tougher. I mean, I think we've had I think 3 bids a couple times that we've been here. So obviously it depends on how teams have done in the past at nationals. We've been fortunate to have some good teams in Ontario that have done really well, and it really allows you to, when you get later on in the season, knowing that it is 100% about winning, but if you can find a way to squeeze into that national championship, then it's wide open again. It's only 2 or 3 games you need to win to then become a national champion. It's not always just the winner of the league that comes in out east or out west or in Ontario that ends up winning it all. So
yeah, I think if we were to look it up, the most recent one that I really paid attention to was UBC, because like you mentioned with Nate and his love about tactics and serving and stuff, I think they finished 3rd in Can West and then looked like world beaters at nationals, right? So the draw really matters. Who's healthy coming into it matters. So
absolutely. It's a long season too.
Definitely an exciting thing happening. So this is great. So thanks for your update on the season so far. You know, I wouldn't be doing my journalistic duty if we didn't talk about club volleyball a little bit. So, Toure, let's start with you because I just love to name drop. We've had Koss on the show, and we can't wait to cut a couple other guys. What was it like being part of that Pakmen team? Like, you won a national championship in 16U. Like, let's just name drop some guys right off the bat. You had Ethan Ellison, who went on to Laval and looked like he played in nationals. Felt like every year he was there. Zach Albert, I think, is at FTC right now. He won a national championship in college. Like, can you just name some other guys that were around?
Yeah, like Amin, he just graduated from Waterloo. He sat there, played with Dale Tal. Like, he went to RMC and like looked like a stud there. He's played like a lot of military Canada games.
Yeah, I think he just got back.
Yeah, he just got back this year. Yeah, like he's doing amazing things. Just like every single guy on that team, like even the guys that you just named, like they're just awesome players. Like played with Craig Ireland, and he's at McMaster playing really, really well.
He was at FISU or I was on B team this year or something.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So,
so like those guys, I started playing volleyball relatively late, and just like seeing those guys play and just having the honor of being on that team and like being like the project and like just developing. Because like I had the physical capabilities, like I just looked up to those guys, and they taught me so much in like a little bit of time, like every year, and so yeah, like I'm indebted to those guys for where I am right now, for sure.
What was a practice like? Because I know Mike Albert was probably coaching for most of years, if not all of them. Being a dad of one of the players, that probably helped control the energy a lot. But I'm just looking up and down at these names we just discussed, and that's a high intense group. Like that's a hectic group that's skilled. You guys can all play, but the intention maybe wasn't always there, right?
Well, like I think we just have like a good team chemistry. Well, like I think he was a very just like a good coach in general, right? And like it didn't matter like that Zach was his son. Like there wasn't really a focus on like one individual person. Like he was like we have like amazing athletic smart players on our team. Let's work on skill-based stuff. Like, let's do serving passes. Let's run the pipe. Let's run the middle. Let's, like, run a faster outside ball. Like a lot of the focus is on, like if anything, it was on Ethan, like, being, like, a virtuoso with the volleyball in his hands, right? And, like, I think him being a setter, too, when he was younger, like, coaching through Ethan, like, to be the quarterback of our team, like, that was just awesome. I think he had a really good focus. Like, every practice, he came in with a plan, like, whether we came from a tournament, he's like, okay, like this is what we need to work on. Like it was like a really good, like having him as a coach was a really good introduction to how university would be.
Nice, for sure. Cool. That's a perfect segue to talk about you, Shotty. You played club for Matt Harris, who was obviously a really high level coach even at that time, and now is coaching at the university level. Did you have him for the core of your club, or if not all? Like, what age did you kind of get set up with his teams?
Yeah, so when I was in grade 7, when I first started playing club, I played the team that I ended up being on was full, and they were already a little bit into the season, so I ended up joining the older Markham team. Then in grade 8, we were all playing together. and we ended up coming second at nationals out east. So then I think Garth, who was running the club at the time, was like, we need to get you guys like a proper mind of a coach, which is no disrespect to the coaches we had before, but he saw our group as having a lot of potential. So then Matt Harris ended up coming from Ottawa to Toronto when I was in grade 9, so I had him from grade 9 to grade 12.
And now, it would only be fair if we name drop, right? So I think Roland is playing at the university level.
Roland came in grade 9, yeah.
Yeah, I believe there's another middle on your York squad that you played club with. I forget his name off the top of my head.
There's no one else from my club team now here at York.
Oh shoot, maybe he committed early and then didn't.
There was we had Waylon Chen, who played libero at Waterloo. Davis Gordon was the setter of my club and high school, and he came here to York for 2 years. We had Matthew Begg that actually went to Ryerson, but he didn't really play. But last year or 2 years ago, I forget which year, when the players were down a couple guys for some reasons, he actually stepped up, and I was watching his game, and he played phenomenal. So yeah, we had a solid club team. When I was in grade 12, we actually had I think it was 10 or 11 guys from my high school that were also on my club team. And my high school coach, John Lamb, was also our assistant coach for our club team. So we had, I had a very similar group of guys that I was training with, and inside of school and outside of school all the time. And obviously Matt Harris and Lamb were on the same page a lot of the time. So it was really good in that aspect.
Nice. So you guys both played really competitive club. You won an OFSAA championship. You were at a very competitive high school with Mayfield, and like we mentioned, Chris Towe and some other guys had come through. At what point did you realize you wanted to play university volleyball? Were you guys exposed well that you knew about it, or was this just kind of something that you thought about in grade 12? When did it click that you knew you could play at the next level?
Yeah, end of grade 12, I was just especially just seeing the strides I was making, and just knowing that people were noticing what was people that I didn't really know on other club teams were hey, where are you playing next year? So just kind of getting that gauge of people asking questions, maybe it's something that you should actually look into. Mike Chumley approached me at a master tournament actually in the club season, and gave me a pitch and said that we'd really love to have you. Went for a tour, and I just felt the connection. I felt the York connection. My dad actually, who passed away when I was younger, went to York University, so I felt that connection too as well. And yeah, it was almost a done deal. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I always knew that I wanted to continue playing sports as long as I could. I used to play basketball. I ended up quitting basketball and focusing on volleyball because I had a greater passion for it. Growing up in high school and being around the area, I came to York games all the time, and it was always a school that interested me. And then it kind of, at the end of the day, came down to Western and York, and I reached out to the Western coach, and he had me out in grade 12 for a visit. And then Chumley, who I knew more personally because of coming to the games and stuff, started having a much greater interest in me. But I all through high school, I kind of knew I wanted to. I wasn't 100% if I was going to kind of be at least tall enough, being a bit shorter as I am, and just knowing how my body was going to be. But it ended up working out where I was able to squeeze my way onto a team, and yeah, I just loved it when I came here for York, and same thing as Toure. There was such a good vibe here, and the guys were really welcoming and stuff, even just being on visits and whatnot. So yeah, it was a bit later. I committed pretty late in my grade 12 year, just before nationals. But I wanted to get that done right before nationals, so I didn't have to worry about that, worry about coaches and stuff like that while I was at nationals. So yeah, I think maybe the night before I flew out to, I think it was Alberta or Calgary. I just texted Chumley and told him that I was going to commit here.
Nice. Those are great stories. Thank you. I did want to circle back and Toure, just talk about your ACL in your third year and kind of the mental toughness you had to either display or grow during that process. Do you mind just touching, at what point of the season did you go down, and then what was the process to get you back to playing shape?
Yeah, so coming off of a high of second year, making second team, especially with Thibaut being on that team as well, and helping us doing a significant portion of some offensive capabilities to get us to the quarterfinals, and then coming in brimming with confidence and playing really well those first
really well.
Yeah, playing except both of us Shotty on left side, me in the middle, just like jumping super high, like hitting all kinds of shots. And we were in a barn burner with Waterloo in the fifth set. I think it was like the 5th or 6th game in. It was like November 17th or something like that. And like 5th set, went up for a ball. I've watched the replay like so many times, but just like at the end of the day, came down on one leg, like I'm sure every volleyball player has at some point in their life, and my knee kind of just couldn't handle the load at the time, and so it tore my ACL and then tore my my lateral meniscus. So found that out, and my knee was a balloon for a couple months. Had surgery in January, so because it took a little while for that swelling to get out, and then just like a vigorous rehab protocol. I was pretty determined from day one. I was like, this isn't gonna hold me back. Like I felt like this is like my calling, and worked really hard with the strength and conditioning department, with the clinic. Like we currently have like, I would say, the best clinic in Ontario at least, and like just working with Tracy and Britt and James down there really helped me out. I got back to almost like, I would say 80% strength, both in muscle mass and strength, and then had to wear a brace for my 4th year, and that year was just all about, you know, gaining confidence in like my volleyball abilities again, you know, like getting the arm swing back, getting the hops back again, just getting those like basic like mental checklists gone through, and I think that whole process just taught me discipline, and just making sure that like at the end of the day, like no matter what circumstances come your way, like you are the master of your own body and self and mind, and just putting your head down, and even though it hurts sometimes, and even though it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, there are so many people who give up their dream because they can't continue, or just like they literally just can't, right? And just be the reason that if you can't, do what you do and do what you love, that you did everything you could in your power. And I did everything in my power, and here I am today, feeling really good.
Yeah, to reiterate, I remember seeing him going in at the beginning. Obviously, it's pretty tough when you first come out of ACL surgery. You're not very mobile, but watching him like develop and going through everything, he went in to the surgery in really good shape, which is also a really big thing to do with like ACL. Like my sister did hers as well, but was in really good shape going into the surgery. I think which helps. But you should have seen like there were people that had surgery before him, and he was like developing and coming back at such a faster rate than everyone else, because it was not that no one was working hard, but he was just putting everything into coming back. And I was incredibly surprised when it was like August and he was back in the gym, like jumping really well and a brace, and it was crazy to see, because when something like that happens, like that happened right beside me, and I remember like grabbing him as he was down, like wasn't responding at all. He was just holding his knee, because it's a lot of weight to come down on your knee like that, because Toure's not a small guy, and you just think you're like, oh my God, he's done. Like, how is he going to come back? And seeing him was really inspiring. Seeing him next year, like be back, and how hard he worked to come back for everyone, and it was great for our team.
Yeah, I noticed when he's telling the story, you're nodding the head along because you remember it just as well.
Oh, yeah.
Toure, did it help? The team culture here is so strong, because we've had other guests on the show and they talk about when they get injured, it really starts to affect their identity, right? Because you take away so much time and part of your social life that if you're just not in the gym with these guys anymore, right? So did that kind of affect it too, or did the culture kind of take over and you were still a part of it, right?
The culture 100% took over. Like I said before, like it's a brotherhood, and like even not just when that thing happened, like when it happened, like everyone was texting me like, how are you doing? Like just the love was pouring in from my team especially, which was much appreciated. Like Wabi at the time came to my house and dropped off a box of chocolates and just said like, hey, like how are you doing? And, like just throughout the whole process, like I was talking to the guys, like I was working at the same time as the guys in the gym while they were doing their team lifts, and I was doing my ACL protocol, and like the guys were in the gym and we're like front squatting or back squatting, and they're like, oh, you're back squatting more than I am right now. Yeah, it was just like, honestly, everyone was just like, I never felt like I was away from the team or not a part of the team. Like I was at every single game, cheering my guys on, putting on the same shoes I tore my ACL and just cheering, like thinking that I'm playing with them. And I never felt like I was like excluded or just like away from the brotherhood. No, like I was like, these are a band of brothers, and I'm honored to be a part of this team because I don't know, like I'm sure other teams are great, but I don't think I would be the same person I am without these
It's hard
guys.
to imagine being on a different team with like the guys and the support that everyone has for each other here, which I'm sure other teams have, but this is like it's unlike most teams I feel like that I've been on before. I mean, the guys that I grew up with and I played with like all had the same type of support, but you just think like the older you get, the more kind of focused everyone is on themselves. But here it's definitely not like that at all. So it's nice.
Sweet, yeah. Thank you for sharing that and just touching on your culture stuff. I think our listeners who coach youth teams are definitely going to hopefully adopt a lot of the stuff that you guys have built here.
Don't miss the Can-Am Holiday Volleyball Showcase, North America's premier men's volleyball event. Experience and enjoy world-class athletes, coaches, and competition in Toronto this holiday season, December 28th to 31st at the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre. Get your tickets while they last at www.cahbs.com. Early bird pricing ends soon.
We do like to end every episode with just a funny story where you guys are high performers, you're at the highest level of our sport, but I think what non-volleyball people don't realize is we still deal with some odd stuff in our sports. So anything you guys want to cue up to give our listeners a little bit of a laugh where it's just like, man, these guys are at the top of the OUA, but they still deal with some stuff every once in a while.
I think a funny story that could be relatable for like any first year. This is when I was in first year, but we had a preseason out to Chicago, and the night before I'm like, oh man, like I have no laundry, like I have no clothes to actually pack on this trip. So I'm in res, I'm on the 8th floor and the laundry's in the basement. I'm back and forth doing laundry, trying to get everything ready. And I'm just feeling super sick. Anyways, I fall asleep with the lights off. I wake up at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. We're leaving at like 7 or something in the morning. And I rip downstairs, get my laundry. I'm like coughing my eyes out. I have to run to the bank that's like not even on campus to get some US money. Run back to campus, run to the bus, and everyone's like, what's going on? Like my eyes are bloodshot, like I'm coughing, like I'm dying, essentially. And just playing sick there the whole weekend. We're playing Lewis and Loyola, and
The defending
at the time, I'm just like, oh man, like what am I doing? But like honestly, we had a really good time on that trip, and it was just unfortunate, but it was pretty funny, like just being sick and just lugging myself around and going to haunted houses when we had some free time. But long story short, come back, and a couple weeks later, I'm like, this isn't normal. Go to the doctor. Ends up I got bronchitis somehow.
No way.
Yeah, so playing with bronchitis in Chicago and had no idea. But it was just like a funny experience, just being sick but also like having one of the most fun times in my life, especially coming into university in the first year and playing volleyball.
Nice.
Yeah. My story's from the same trip. Once we actually got to Chicago, we played Loyola. It was a good game. We're just kind of hanging around downtown Chicago, and I'm one of those guys where I'm walking around. If like something catches my eye, I'm very like stuck on it, and I'm an observant guy, and I get distracted very easily. And we're walking, and there's this huge building that's like lit up with, I guess like certain rooms are lit up, so they're spelling out words. I have no idea what it says though, because it's not done very well. But I'm like determined to figure it out. We're just walking along the streets, and I just walked like straight into a fire hydrant and like clipped right under my kneecap. And that hands down, like I've broken bones, I've torn ligaments. That was hands down the most painful thing that's ever happened to me. I'm not one of those guys that ever goes into like shock or anything, so I felt every piece of it, and everyone was looking at me like what was going on. I was trying to play it cool because I'm in first year and not trying to seem like that dude that just walked into a fire hydrant. So I put my arms around my two buddies, and we just walked on the bus. My trainer was freaking out. My knee just started blowing up, and we had 8 a.m. practice with Lewis, and then we played them later that day. And I don't know if I'm going to get in or not, but I'm a first year, and I would love to be able to get the experience. So I don't say anything to my coach, just like wrap my knee up so you can't really see anything. Nicholas Piernat goes down with an ankle injury in the first set, so my coach calls my name, and I just somehow had to figure out how to keep my knee warm until that point. And then I went on the court, and it was hands down one of the toughest things I've ever had to do, because I felt like I couldn't jump, couldn't bend my knee, couldn't play defense. And I mean, it was a struggle. Probably wasn't my finest game ever, but I figured out a way to get through the game. And then we had a 10-hour bus ride home where I got to watch The Office the whole time as my knee swole up more. So, yeah.
You guys have come a long way since first year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no more fire hydrants.
No more bronchitis. Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Awesome. Well, I know you guys got some game prep to do, so thanks for meeting with us and taking the time to do this. Obviously, two very easy guys to root for, so good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, you gain some fans through this, and we can keep an eye on the York Lions this year. I think this is the year. I feel good things coming.
Yeah,
Well, we do
hopefully
too.
the last year.
Gotta do
Thanks
big
so much.
things.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
No problem.